Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Yesterday we had come to the point where we discussed that when the girl's father had found out that her daughter has now accepted Islam, so at that stage what did he do? He sent his son. He said, go and speak to your sister and get her to return back to Hinduism. So the brother, he came and he was a very learned boy. In terms of secular education also he was well learned. In terms of the religious education also he was well learned. So he came and he started speaking to his sister. And the first objection that he raised, that he said that the Muslims, they eat the cow. And she explained to him that also that there is absolutely no problem. The Rajas of India, they had also done the same. And they didn't slaughter one cow, they had slaughtered 100 cows. Then the second objection he raised. The second objection that he raised, he said, see, that the Muslims, they make wudu, etc. from a well. And he says that if a mouse or a rat has to fall into the well, then you must remove 20 to 30 buckets of water from the well. And if you remove 20 to 30 buckets of water, the well becomes park once again, you can utilize the water. And then he said that if a chicken has to fall into the well, then you must remove 40 to 50 buckets of water. And if you remove 40 to 50 buckets of water, again the water will become park. You can make your wudu again with that water. You can use it for ghusl, whatever you want to use it, cooking, you can utilize the water. And then he said if a cat has to fall into the well, then you must remove 70 to 80 buckets of water. And if you remove it, again the water will become park. Whereas he made a mistake in the masla. The masla is actually, the masla for the chicken and the masla for the cat is actually the same. That you should remove 40 buckets of water. And it is preferable that a person, he removes 60 buckets of water. But if you remove 40, it will become park. Today we don't know the masail of the well. I just hope that it's still taught in the makatib. The masail pertaining to wells, etc. It is still taught in the makatib. But we don't know the masail. One person, he went to Maulana and he told Maulana, see, that the rat fell in the well. So he said, how many buckets of water must be removed from the well? So Maulana also didn't know the masla. So Maulana was one smarter. So what Maulana said, he said, go and see what color was the mouse or the rat that fell in the well. When he went to see the color of the rat, Maulana went to check his kitab. So when he checked and he came back, Maulana checked the masla already. He told him that this is the masla. Really, we don't know these masail. Once we were in Lanesia and we were with Hazrat Abdul Hamid Saheb. So we went into a particular masjid, Masjid Umar Farooq. And it was the day of Jummah, just before the Jummah Salah. And there was no water. So when I went into the bathroom and I relieved myself, there was still water that was in the jug. But when I opened the tap, I saw that there was no water. So there was sufficient water for me and I came out. So the moment I came out, I see Hazrat was now coming to relieve himself. So I saw now there's a big paint drum, 25-liter paint drum, and there's water in there, full water in there. So that was kept to utilize for istinja. Now I'm asking Hazrat, then how must I get the water into the jug? Because normally we would take a scoop or something and scoop it out and put it into the jug. So I'm asking him, how must I? He said, just turn the jug, just turn that paint drum. And if you turn the paint drum, you'll get the water in. So I turned it and I put the water for him and then I walked out from there. So we don't know these basic masail because we're so used to the tap. Once we were in Tanzania and there was a brother Suleiman Hardi, multi-millionaire, Allah Ta'ala blessed him with so much. He's got acres and acres of land. And he's got these cashew nut trees, so many cashew nut trees he's got, mashallah. But in spite of this, they own properties. In Dar es Salaam, they own huge properties. So when we were there, he, mashallah, Allah Ta'ala blessed him that he made so much of sacrifice. He wanted to make his children ulama. He came all the way from Tanzania. He settled down in South Africa. His sons, he brought them here to Darul Camperdown. And his daughters, he put them in Azadwal, in the girls' madrasa. He even bought a house, and I think that house is still owned by him. And then when they completed, he took them back to Tanzania. And his entire family, he opened 2 darulums across each other. On one side is the girls' darulum, on the other side is the boys' darulum. But approximately 3 hours away from Dar es Salaam. To get there, you get so tired. So when we went there, so he was so happy. He said, no, you must come to the Darulum. So we went. When he went, mashallah, he gathered all the ulama, all the local ulama that are teaching in the makatib, he gathered all of them. And he said, have a program for all the ulama that are here. And then he knows that Hazrat Maulana always, he speaks about eating the desi chicken, the actual chicken, the chicken that we eat. This is actually the machine chicken. There's no real chicken. The bone also, if you bite it, the bone breaks. So he told me, come, I'll show you the chicken. And eat chicken, 3 to 4 kilo chicken, big chickens he had. And then he said, I'm going to cook this. Today you must eat desi chicken and desi eggs you must eat. And really, we can't even eat it. We are so weak, we can't even eat that chicken. So when I came back, then we found out from some relatives, they have a farm. We said that you all cook it, but the meat is so soft. What's the difference? Over there, we couldn't eat it at all. So he said, see, when it is young, then we cut it over here immediately. So the meat is still soft. But when it becomes old, they're 3-4 kilo chicken, he says now the meat becomes tough. Now you cannot eat that meat. But they eat genuine, original food that they eat there, and they're so strong also, mashallah. We know the type of food that we eat, and we know the condition of our health also. In the hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it comes that a person, when he wakes up in the morning, is astayqadha ahadukum min manami. When anyone wakes up from his sleep, fala yaghmisanna yadahu fil ina. Don't take your hands and put it into a container. Meaning when there is water now, and say there is no water supply, now you need to make water from the container, from the bucket. You don't take your hand and you put it into the container. The hadith says, فَإِنَّهُ لَا يَدْرِي أَيْنَ بَاتَتْ يَدُهُ. A person does not know where his hand has spent the night. Where and where in the napak places your hand must have gone. Now you take your hand and you're putting it in the container. All the water you're going to make it napak. So a person, if there's a scoop, use another scoop and remove the water and wash your hand. If there isn't another scoop, you use the tip of your fingers, and with the tip of your fingers you remove the water out, and then you wash your hand, and now you can put your hand into that bucket or whatever it might be. Now it will become correct. So these masail also are very, very important. Today we know we have a problem with electricity, we have a problem with water. Looks like we're going back to that stage where we will have to start using all these things again. So these masail also we must learn. Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq. So this is the objection that he raised. What did he say? He said that how can it be possible? It's illogical that the entire well became napak. You take out 20-30 buckets of water, the well became park. Now 40-50 buckets you take out, and the well has become park. This is totally illogical. So what did the sister say? She said, you're an intelligent person, you got secular education. She said, see, when you are sick, many times there is disorder in the blood. When you go to the doctor, what does the doctor do? The doctor removes the bad blood, what we refer to normally as cupping. Many people ask this masla also. Now also one person asked in Ramadan, can you do cupping? So it is permissible. The masla is it is permissible to do cupping. But if there's fear that a person is going to become weak by doing cupping, because the moment you do cupping, a person he becomes weaker. So when you become weak, then it is makruh for a person to do cupping. Similarly, the masla comes about donating blood. Yes, Shariat has given permission. The actual masla is you cannot donate blood. You can only donate blood when there's a necessity. When a person is on the verge of passing away, at that time only you can donate blood. Otherwise you can't donate blood in advance. But because today there's AIDS and so many illnesses, the blood has to go through a testing process before they actually use the blood on somebody else. That is why the fuqaha, the ulama have given permission that today in advance you can donate blood. Now if a person goes to donate blood, when they are extracting blood, at the same time they're giving you a biscuit to eat. Why? Because now you are getting weaker. So now you gain strength by eating that biscuit. So in Ramadan, a person wants to donate blood. If there's fear he's going to become weak, it becomes makruh for a person now to donate blood. So she said, see, when you go to the doctor, when they do the cupping, in our understanding, just the bad blood is removed. When the bad blood is removed, finished, now the rest of the blood is in order, everything is now perfect in that person. So when you can understand it over there, why can't you understand it in the well over here? So again, he had no answer. Then the third thing she told him, she said, see, that the Hindu people many a time when they are on the verge of passing away, she said this first. She said that on the door of Jannat, we have read in the Vedas that on the door of Jannat, there are certain words that are written. And if you recite those words, then you will enter into Jannat. But what are those words? No Hindu, no Pandit ever told us today what those words are, which is actually Kalima Shahadat. So she said that nobody has ever told us what these words are. And then she said, see, when a Hindu person is passing away, many times at the time when the ruh is leaving the body, he is now leaving the world, the ruh doesn't want to come out of the body. So the person is going through difficulty. So the Pandits, they tell them that say the Ankahat. What is Ankahat? Ankahat actually is La ilaha illallah. So you all are telling them to read La ilaha illallah. And when they say the Ankahat, when they read La ilaha illallah, what is now the ruh leaves the body. So when he heard this, immediately he was silent. He walked away from there and he went home. He told his father, there's no hope that she will ever return to the deen of Hinduism. She will always remain a Muslim. So this is the impact, this is the power that every verse, every surah of the Quran Sharif, what power Allah Ta'ala has kept in the Quran Sharif. Really, we have discarded the Quran Sharif. That is why we're seeing the problems in our lives. But just bring this back into our lives and see how far we go. Maulana Vayat Saheb Rahmatullah alayhi, he was in Shaka Scroll. And as Maulana was going for Hajj, he passed away in the aeroplane. They had to land again, and then his janazah took place. So many a times when I was a young boy, we used to go there because I used to have a lot of headaches when we were doing Hifz class. So we used to always go by Hazrat Maulana for Tawiz. So many times we saw the Hindu people sitting there, and Maulana will blow in the water and he will give it to them. And he will say, drink this water. In Azadwal also, one Hindu person, his children were very, very sick. So somebody told him, one friend of his, Muslim friend, he said, no, go to the Maulana. Where are you going everywhere else? Go to the Maulana. Your problem is going to be sorted out. So the Hindu person came to the Maulana and he said that, my child got this problem. All Maulana did, he recited Surah Yasin, he blew in the water and he said, give your children this water to drink. They drank the water after 1 to 8. He says, perfect. My children are perfectly well. So what shifa Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has kept in the Quran Sharif. Maulana Nomani Saheb, Dawud Barakatum, he mentioned, he says that in India up to this day, when you go to the masajid, he says that the Hindu ladies, when the children are not well, they come with the children and they stand outside the masjid. When you come out of the masjid, they say that just blow on our children, just blow on our children, and they have full conviction that our children will be cured. He says, but when they'll never come to your shop. They'll stand outside the masjid, but they don't come to the shop. He says, why? Because our practices in our business, this is not in order. So he says, they know when we come out of the masjid, we are proper Muslims. But when we go to the shop, then we don't remain totally on our deen. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala give us the understanding of what is the value of Quran Sharif, and Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq more than that to make amal on the injunction of Quran Sharif. Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq.